Hey everybody, Sarah Bundy here from All Inclusive Marketing. I'm here today with Laura Patterson, a good friend of mine, who's actually a master in consumer engagement and performance measurement and management with VisionEdge Marketing, also a published author. Laura, super great to have you, and would love to actually have you introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about your background before we jump into our topic today, which is consumer engagement and performance measurement. So,
awesome. And thank you, Sarah, for having me. And it is wonderful to have a chance to reconnect with you again. I know we've done this in the past, but it has been a while. I mean, 2013, 2014, and it's 2020. So a lot has happened in the world in the last, as that time went on. So I'm Laura Patterson. I'm the president of VisionEdge Marketing. We're here in Austin, Texas. We're actually waiting for a storm to roll in. As you all probably know about the 1-2 punch hurricanes going into the Gulf right now. And I co-founded VisionEdge Marketing in 1999. So we've been around a while, and we started as a company that was based on how to be a data-driven, customer-centric company and focused on growth. So we were very early to the game, and now everybody is talking about those things. So I feel like my time has come. So we just published our 4th book. It's called Fast Track Your Business. I put a little promo behind me here so people can see it. And some of the things we're going to talk about today are mentioned in Fast Track. So I'll try to bring that up occasionally because people are oftentimes looking for what's an affordable way to learn more. And the book is in an ebook form. It's in Audible. So lots of affordable ways.
Yeah, and Laura, you've worked with some of the largest companies in the world. We actually first met when you were actually doing a session at the Online Marketing Summit. You were teaching one of the master classes there. Again, that was back in 2013. So you've been doing this a super long time. And when it comes to the theory of consumer engagement and understanding through practical experience how to actually get systems in place that are going to help drive that consumer engagement and help track that performance measurement, you're one of the best there is, period. So I'm so happy that we got a chance to chat right now. And we'll make it really conversational. Just want to get people thinking a little bit about how to finish or kind of progress into 2021, think about how to progress into holiday shopping season, which is about to start, and really understand, especially during COVID-19, how do we work with brands and with consumers and with affiliate partners to ensure that we're providing the best consumer experience and ensuring that we're being present and doing consumer engagement in the right way today. So does that sound good?
It sounds perfect.
So, perfect. So first, I'm only going to ask a couple of questions, and we'll keep it really focused on the consumer engagement side. I think one of the biggest questions that people want to understand is how does consumer engagement and how does tracking of that consumer engagement or conversions or certain metrics change depending on the industry that they're in?
Did you see the supervisor go by?
Yes, I saw your boss just walked by there.
She's hanging out. That's the supervisor.
Oh, okay, what's her name?
Sienna.
Hey, Sienna. Good to have her part of the session too.
All right. Yes.
So the idea is, yes, how do these consumer engagement pieces change depending on the industry? And is it different for when it's a lead gen program or a subscription program or a retail program and it's tracking pay per sale? So let's talk a bit about tracking mechanisms. Let's talk a little bit about consumer engagement and how they might differ by industry.
I like that. And I want to back up for a moment. And I want to remind everyone that whether it's a customer in a B2B or a consumer in a B2C or some other way that you might be looking at your business, it's really about the journey, right? The journey a customer or a consumer goes through to making a decision to buy your product or service. I want us to remember that it all starts with understanding the journey. And when you're a customer-centric or consumer-centric organization, you start with understanding your customers and what they want, what they need, right? All of those basics. So let's assume you've got the basics covered and you know the answer to some key questions. So I want to remind everyone that regardless of the product or service, people go through pretty much the same steps in making a decision to buy. Whether they're courting each other for marriage or they're going to buy a piece of chocolate. It's pretty much the same steps. It just has to do with how many people are involved in those steps and how long each of those steps take. And I think that's important as you think about what you're going to track and where engagement occurs in each of those steps. So I think we should step back for a moment. I'm going to tell you what the steps are. I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to use a personal example of a sort of a B2C example that I think everyone can relate to. And then we'll use that as a springboard to talking about tracking and measurement. Okay? Does that sound like a good idea?
Yeah, that's great.
So we talk about these steps. If you do get to the book, this is all laid out in the chapter that is plan and execute, because that's what really we're talking about right now. You've done all the work and now you're in execution mode. And so in the journey, people go through these steps. They investigate. They're trying to figure out, what is my problem? How do people, who has my problem? How do people solve my problem? Those kinds of questions, whatever it is. And the second thing they do is then they start identifying potential solutions for their problem or their need or whatever it is. It may not be your solution yet. It may not be your specific offer, but hopefully they're looking at the various options, and one of those options would be what category you are in. So back to chocolate, maybe I really have a hankering, I want to get something for chocolate, but I really am thinking dark chocolate. And I don't want it to be littered with anything. So no nuts, no flavors, just good, solid, dark chocolate. All right, so let's just think that through. We'll come back to that. After they do that, they're going to start going into an evaluation phase. Like, I'm going to evaluate all these options. I'm going to pick my best option, and I'm going to start looking at the individuals' options within that category that make the most sense. So now that I've settled on, I want a dark chocolate bar, now I'm going to go look and see what all my options might be, and where I want to go and buy that. Or if I'm in the store already, I'm going through the aisle and I'm maybe comparing some things like, how much trans fat or whatever it might be. So I'm going to be in evaluation. And then I'm going to select it. I'm going to pick my choice, and I'm going to make what my choices are, and I'm going to make my final decision, and I'm going to make a purchase. And it doesn't really count until I actually pay for that chocolate bar. Okay, it doesn't count. I can be in the aisle, I can put it back on the shelf, I can walk out the door, doesn't count. Okay, now let's use a more sophisticated example, because that process happens in lickety-split, and it can be an impulse decision. Maybe I was on the aisle picking up something else that chocolate happens to be on, and I just thought, I'm going to indulge, right? But let's talk about a more considered purchase. Even though many brands have impulse buys, there are considered purchases. And I'll come back to some examples of that, like maybe using Keurig. Stop me anytime, Sarah, that I'm getting off track.
No, you're good. And this is actually really, just to give some context, this is actually very helpful too, because in the affiliate marketing world, we're always thinking about what are the actual steps and how do we track the steps in attribution? How do we track that click to consume path analysis? How do we understand which affiliates are impacting different buyer stages, different stages of the funnel? And why does that particular affiliate impact those different stages? And how do we help them kind of move further down the funnel? So all of the things that you're saying right now is relevant to how that process works, regardless of the type of marketing, but especially important to how affiliate marketing works too. So
exactly. And think of it more like a pipeline. If you envision it that way, they're moving through the process, right? And they're going to use different things. So now I'm going to use some examples of different touch points and channels. I'm going to weave that into this, right? So a number of years ago, I got a phone call from my mother, and she'd just come back from the doctor, and she had been in a lot of back pain, and she was having a lot of discomfort. So she finally went into the doctor, and she had an MRI done. She was meeting with the doctor, and she called me up and she said, I've been diagnosed with spinal stenosis. I had no idea what spinal stenosis was. She didn't either. I said, what is that? She goes, I'm not really sure, but it has something to do with my spine. No joke, Mom. You went to the back doctor, right? Mm-hmm. So what is the first thing that you think I did? I went into investigation mode, and I hit Google, and I typed in spinal stenosis, right? So now I'm in spinal stenosis, and I get a definition of what it is, And now I start like bebopping around, like, how do you get it? How do you treat it? Right? I'm doing all that kind of what I call investigative work. Well, you can use acupuncture, you can do surgery, you can do weight management sometimes. So spinal stenosis, just for our listeners who may not know what it is that our spine sits in a channel. And in some people, that channel begins to shrink. And it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And as it does, it causes excruciating pain on the spine. And what do people who have spinal stenosis tend to do? You can recognize them. I didn't know this, but now I do. Is they begin to hunch over. So you'll see people like almost totally bent over their shopping cart, right? Walking, holding on to something, and they can't stand up straight anymore because the channel has squeezed them down. So there's not a whole lot you can do, but there are things you can do. So you're in investigation mode. Now, as I'm investigating, I'm bebopping across all these sites, right? I'm leaving breadcrumbs all along the way. I'm accepting cookies. I might be downloading a document and leaving my name, my email address. I'm just leaving breadcrumbs everywhere, right? But I am nowhere near ready to buy, and I'm not even the buyer. So this is going to be an example of a consultative sell in a kind of a consumer space, so that people who are both in traditional consumer packaged goods, as well as people who are listening, who might be in a more complicated consultative B2B sell, I think this will help them apply.
And I'll also add, Laura, really quick, that everything that you just said is exactly where content affiliates fit into the mix, or forums, or private Facebook groups, or comparison sites, because you can follow a cookie trail, and once you're doing your research investigated, you might go to a comparison site. I imagine that's actually probably going to be one of your next steps here. But I want to talk about the practice of humans going to go research something and learn something and discover something and investigate, to your point. Content affiliates are so key to that first step. And there's a very large portion of them that actually monetize their content through affiliate marketing links. So please carry on.
Yeah, and you bring up a really good point. I went to do a Google search. So it's not about awareness anymore. It was about discoverability. And so what I really tell people is spend less time thinking about awareness, spend more time thinking about how you're going to be discoverable. And we actually will have a post on discoverability. It's already written, it's queued up. Not sure when it's coming out. But many companies are not thinking about discoverability, and yet it's highly measurable. And it's an easy enough thing to do, and it's tied to SEO, right? And you can look at it in a variety of ways. Are you improving your discoverability? So traditionally, brands thought about awareness, and what I'm suggesting is think about engagement starts with being discoverable. All right, so now I have done my homework with my mother, and I'm on the phone with her along with other members of the family, my brother and sister, and we're talking about the things that we've learned about the options, right? So we're identifying our options, and we say, here's all the various ways that this problem is treated, right? We've identified them. And she says, well, who does those things? So now what do? We go into identify mode. Now, what does my mom do? My mom has been around for a while and is also a nurse and has a very active friend community. She starts bebopping around in her community. Does anybody know anyone with spinal stenosis? What did they do? Who did they go to? Right? She's bebopping around, getting people. We're bebopping around. Now we're bebopping around all kinds of places to learn more about the options. Now my mom is living in St. Louis, and I might be bebopping around on a site in California. The odds that my mother is going to do anything with a physician or a health practitioner in California, really low, right? But in their mind, they're already starting to email me. They're sending me all kinds of email, and they're trying to get onto my Facebook, and they're trying to do all kinds of stuff to get me to get engaged with them. But I'm never going to do anything with somebody in California for my mother, right? So this is a key part of what people need to understand, that, again, I'm in identification mode. I'm not in buy mode, right? So
before you carry on, sorry, Laura, to cut you off, to give context from an affiliate perspective as well, what you just described, where she's going around and she's asking people's opinions. Do you know this person? Do you have anybody you can recommend? What's your opinion on this? This is where the influencers and the brand ambassadors start to fit in. So
Exactly.
on that initial discovery section, that's where a lot of those content guys come in. Influence, yes, as well. But when it comes to like, I just need someone's opinion who knows this topic well or has any kind of insight on it, that's where your influencers and brand ambassadors come in on the affiliate marketing side.
That's a really good point. Thanks for bringing that in. The next one I'll also stop so you can add that in. Okay. So now let's say that my mother, which is actually true, decides that she is going to go the surgery route. Now we have to go identify the various surgical procedures because there's more than one. We have to start looking for providers, right? So we're now moving into the evaluation phase. We haven't selected anybody. We might schedule some telehealth conversations right on the phone or like this, a virtual meeting. We might schedule in-person consultations. We might be doing a variety of things. And while that's going on, we're doing the evaluation phase. Other things are happening, like my mother is contacting her insurance provider. Which of these people are in the insurance? We might be looking at reviews that are being done for these physicians and for the surgical centers and all of that. All that's going on in this evaluation phase. So let's say now we've identified a couple of physicians in St. Louis and she's met with them. Now we're going to go through the selection process.
Okay, so before you get there though, Laura,
stop.
No
Yes.
worries. To give you some context and that where you're looking at like what are the different options and who are the different providers, and you start doing a comparison, which literally is the point of comparison sites. So you've got the comparison sites and you've got the review sites, and that's an example of the type of affiliate that would actually fill that next phase of the journey.
Yes, we are such a good team. Okay, so that's exactly right. Okay, so now we've narrowed it down, right? We're moving into selection phase. Well, there's a variety of things that might go into the consideration. Maybe my mom, maybe their bedside manner, she just didn't like them. Chemistry, right? Maybe it has something, because we've already gone past approvals with the insurance, right? We wouldn't spend our time with anyone who wasn't going to be covered. Maybe it has something to do with their availability. Maybe she's in so much pain, she's not willing to wait 3 months till their surgical calendar opens up, right? It could be any number of things that go in this sort of selection process of the top choices, right? All right, I'll stop. How does that play in with the affiliates?
So that could be anything that's related to product comparison again, or just anything that actually has a tracker on inventory management. So availability of dates. If it's a product, then it might be like, okay, what's available, where data feeds start coming into play. And if there's people that can promote particular types of products with data feeds, or particular services with data feeds, or widgets or API integrations, that's what solves for that one there, for bookings and lead gen and things like that.
Exactly. And I'll kind of come back. Don't let me forget to talk about our coffee, using coffee if we have time. Because there's some very interesting things, for example, like Keurig, where I buy my coffee, right, in this process. So now, remember all those people that I was bebopping around with in the early, they're still emailing me. They still think that they're in the game, but they're nowhere near in the game, right? I've left them in the dust, even though they are sending me email after email after email about scheduling an appointment. Not happening for whatever reason. And all those other people that got kicked out because either they weren't covered by the insurance or they didn't have a good review, they're still emailing. They're still doing a bunch of stuff. They're still calling, right? Schedule an appointment, come in for a consultation, blah, 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 right? But it's not going to happen. So I want people to understand that just because we are sending things out and maybe they're opening the email or maybe they're looking at something or clicking on something, that doesn't mean anything, right? It's because that's not going to happen, right? All right, so now we have our top 2 or 3 choices and we move through that are make the most sense. And now we have to make a decision. Well, there could, so we go through that process. What might that decision be? Could be any number of things that might affect a decision, right? Remember, I was in the aisle with the chocolate and I had it in my hand, but I put it back on the shelf, right? So it could be she got scared, right? Or it could, right? Or it could be that at the last minute, she heard from someone who had that she had reached out to in the identify stage, who might have been gone for 3 weeks and is back in town and said, I just got your email because I don't look at my email except once every month or something. And I had the same problem, and the doctor I went to is this guy, and you really need to, before you make a decision, you need to talk to this guy because like he's the best. He's the best in the city, he's the best in the state. Don't do this without, talking to this guy. Oh, there we are. we've pulled back from our decision, right? So things can affect the decision. I'm going to stop.
Well, I just want to add in actually what you just described in contact this person and all these different conversations that are taking place, and you're getting hit by all these different types of things. And then perhaps there's a delay, and maybe someone's only checking their email once a month, and then they were away on vacation for 3 weeks. You actually just described the entire process of affiliate recruitment, because we have to do constant outreach, or we do, outreach in different ways, or we have to do outreach through different channels. And sometimes they don't see it. Sometimes it gets overlooked or deleted, and sometimes they are away and the content of the offer or the content of that solution is not relevant at that time. But then 3 weeks down the line or 3 months down the line, it suddenly is, and they're like, okay, you know what, let's have a conversation now. And that's one of the reasons why recruitment actually takes so long when it comes to affiliates. So that was a good description of that.
That makes really good sense, and that's a great addition. So ultimately, the goal is obviously to lead to a purchase, and clearly, this didn't happen overnight, but this was not actually a very slow process. In some B2B guys, it could be 18 months for a design win, right? But my mother's decision was made probably over the course of about 6 weeks. So for a consultative buy like that, that wasn't very long. Sure, it wasn't chocolate, right? But it wasn't a hugely long period of time from start to finish. And lots of engagement is occurring right through all this process. And there's lots of moving parts, lots of people involved. And so we like to talk about B2B as being really how consultative and complex is the buy. How many people need to be part of it makes it be more like a B2B, even in the consumer world of buying a house, maybe buying a car. Decisions around your first baby, which might be a whole slew of consumer brand products, but there's a lot of people affecting your decision because it's your first one, and everybody and their brother is going to tell you, or everybody and their mother is going to tell you what you should buy, right? So there are a lot, even in something as simple as, cloth diapers or throwaway diapers, bottles or not, right? I mean, there's just a million one things that are in the brand.
And you know what? This is one of the reasons why it's really important to offer incentives to customers as well, because they are bombarded by so many different options, and it's very noisy out there in the space. Like when there's so many options, people almost get paralyzed. It's like paralysis from analysis. It's too much, and they don't know what to do. So the things that actually tip them over the edge oftentimes are some kind of a promotion or deal or cashback offer, or some kind of a cool value proposition or differentiator that is really so unique, that is so well communicated, which is one of the reasons why content and kind of content pieces are going to be important in working with content partners, because they can provide that education and that clarity and that transparency and the value propositions. It's also on the affiliate side why it's important to work with the coupon deal and cashback guys, because when people have so many options, they need that thing to tip them over the edge to make the decision that's in favor of the brand that's doing the promotion. So again, providing that context.
Yeah, that makes sense to me too. So each one of these steps is a form of engagement, right? Mm-hmm. Each one of these steps has conversion. Each one of these steps, to your point, you want to understand which touch points are most effective, which channels were the most effective. And so now you can be thinking about, okay, as I understand what I'm trying to do, I can now figure this out. So back to chocolate for a moment, and then back to coffee. So we have a piece of dark chocolate in our household every night. It's our little treat to ourselves.
Nice.
But I only buy one thing. And the only reason I buy that is because it came recommended by a friend of mine. And it's a big block of chocolate that's really affordable, really good, that you get at Trader Joe's. And I don't get any engagement from Trader Joe's at all, ever, about this chocolate. But I actually go out of my way when we're getting, I buy 3 or 4 of these things at a time and go out of my way, because I have no Trader Joe's near me, so I can buy their chocolate, which goes to show you the value proposition and the importance of the referral, right? I didn't do a review.
Exactly the point of affiliate marketing. That is exactly what we do for a living. So having that person or body say, I recommend this, or here's something I endorse, or here's something I discovered, or here's something I love, and here's where to get it, and here's a link to get it. is exactly what we do for a living. And that was a
Exactly.
perfect analogy for the chocolate. Thank you.
Yes, I thought that it would be helpful. By the way, I actually got to sample the chocolate. My friend also is a big chocolate fiend. And so we were together, this is a while back, because I've been buying this chocolate now for quite a while, probably like about 4 or 5 years, so a very long time. So I am a very sticky customer. I want to come back to Measures, okay? And I'm a very loyal customer because I don't buy any other bars. And I will buy enough bars to hold me through until I'm going to get back to Trader Joe's chocolate.
Nice.
But we were having lunch together, so 4 or 5 years ago, and she and I were she said, "You want a piece of chocolate? I really like this chocolate." So she opened up the, her purse, and she took a piece of chocolate and she gave it to me. And I'm like, "This is pretty good." She goes, "And it's really affordable. You can buy a whole pound and it comes in squares. You just cut them up. You can have, make yourself a little treat every single day." That's what Craig and I do. I'm like, what a cool idea. She goes, "Get it at Trader Joe's. They always have them in stock. Every Trader Joe's," right? There you go, right? So here I am. I had a chance to sample it. I had a huge referral from someone that was a great influencer. I trusted subject matter expert, because she and I both shared a passion for chocolate, and we know one another, and we like to have similar tastes. And I knew where to go and get it. She told me exactly what I was looking for. She said, "It's the big bar. It's in the red package. They have more than a different kind. Get only the red package," right? So now she's being very specific, easy to find. Went and purchased it. Out the door I go. And 5 years later, I am a sticky customer making a referral, right? For chocolate, a $5 item, right? So whether it's a thousands of dollar purchase, like my mother, right? Thousands of dollars, or $5 purchase, like chocolate, that is an example of this process in place. So back to some measures. I want to just talk a little bit about customer types of measures. So I kind of alluded to one already, which is customer stickiness, right? I think another one that is very important is lifetime value, especially for brands. And so I'm going to give you another example. Do we have time for another example?
We have a short example. Yes, if you can
go. All right, I will do my best.
Notes version.
So let's talk about internet companies and lifetime value, or phone companies like these and lifetime value. So we had our television cable tied to our internet provider here in Austin. And we've had this provider since 1979. Okay, very long time. And every year, the bill would just creep up. So between 1979 and 2019, so a very long period of time, the bill creeped and creeped and creeped. And in 2019, I said to this provider, "We need to do something about your bill. This has gotten outrageous for television. And there are many other options." Now, I have spent approximately this month on a monthly basis since 1979. So this is how much money I've already invested in your company. I'm X years old, and I probably will be watching television for another 30 years. Therefore, based on your current amount of money, I'm worth X number of dollars for you over the next 30 years. I would like to negotiate my deal. Here's your choice, right? So I want you to understand, this is back to customer lifetime value. This is my lifetime value. Here's your choice. We can come to a reasonable agreement for our price, for the value, and you can continue to earn money from me in addition to what you've already earned, or I'm going to go cold turkey and I'm going to cancel my service. What do you want to do? And the answer on the other end of the line was, I'm not in a position to make that decision. So here's about empowerment of your team. I said, "Well, who is?" "Nobody." I said, "I bet if I could talk to your CFO, they would be interested in having this conversation." "We don't do that." I said, "Okay, no problem." So what did I do? What do you think I did, Sarah?
You canceled and went with a different provider.
I canceled. Scooched on down to Best Buy, our favorite little store at the bottom of the hill, right? Another place we'd love to go to get our stuff. Got some advice from those guys. And the next moment, we came back. What did we have? We had adapters for the televisions to make it Roku. We had a Hulu subscription service, and bye-bye cable, right? Then what do you think happened?
The other guys phoned you back.
Oh, not just phoned. We have email, we have phone, we have mail with 1,000,001 offers. Come back, come back, come back. Too late, right? So all I'm trying to say is, as another B2C type of buy, be very careful as you're looking at customer lifetime value, and have your front line be able to be empowered and understand the real ultimate measure of success, right?
And you know what, that's a good analogy too, for on the affiliate side, with empowering affiliate managers to be able to support affiliate requests, because affiliates do have a lot of options as well. And if you're not able to, or we as a management team are not able to support the requests of the affiliates, and we don't have the authority to say, you know what, yes, I'll bump up your commission by 2%, please keep us on, or we'll take that premium spot. If we don't have that ability to do it when it's relevant, and the authority to do it when it's relevant, we could lose that affiliate forever, who then goes and promotes a competitor instead. So that story is extremely relevant to the way that brands can empower both their affiliate managers and management team, as well as the affiliates, to be able to support customers on the other side. It is such an important point.
Okay, last one, and then I know we need to wrap up.
Okay.
Share of wallet, which is very, very important in the consumer engagement, share of wallet. So what does that mean? Well, in the brand world, it might mean how many of what I sell do you buy, and how many different things that I sell do you buy. So let's go back to coffee. So I'm a pretty big coffee drinker, and I really, really wish I had had foresight and I had bought stock in Keurig. Now, why do I wish that? Because all of us are at home. Everybody bought a Keurig machine because they had been getting their coffee either at Starbucks or in the office. No Starbucks, no office, right? And now they have to go to the grocery store, or they need to get their coffee, right? So Keurig, online, buy it online, don't even have to go to the grocery store. Huge opportunity, lost opportunity. But I digress. Back to share of wallet. That's a really valuable consumer engagement measure, because people who trust you, who value you, who like your products, should buy more of the products that you offer. So if you have multiple offers, that they don't budge to buying another one. See, think back to the cable guy who also had the internet, who also wants your phone, right? Or the grocery store who's hoping that you go up and down every aisle and put something in the basket. This is all an example of share of wallet. Do you buy everything at Whole Foods, or do you only buy a few items at Whole Foods, but you buy everything else at Walmart, right? Those are the kinds of things that you're trying to understand in share of wallet. And so the more that you can get and expand your share of wallet, or your footprint inside the customer, the better, right?
Yeah.
Something to consider as another measure of engagement.
Yeah, and I think from an affiliate perspective as well, we're fortunate to be in a time when affiliates technology has caught up to understanding some of the purchasing behaviors of individuals as they're on a site. And they use AI today to actually identify at what point can we increase the basket size or the share wallet of this particular customer, both because of what they've clicked on or how their behavior seems to appear as they journey through the website or as they came to the website. And it's been able to be proven that the affiliate side is able to increase not only conversion rates, but basket size and AOV and market share because of that. So you're right. I mean, people will choose and shop and buy from different places. So if you can help encourage them to increase what they're buying, the frequency of purchase, the lifetime value of it, all of those things are so key to gaining market share, to driving revenue, to driving profitability, to driving new customer acquisitions.
And share price.
Correct, exactly. And
So,
share price, yeah. So,
right.
so these are all things that, all these steps, all the journey that you're describing, it's every single, to your point, product or service that's being purchased. And it's entirely relevant, exactly relevant to why we work with affiliates in different ways and why it's important to have a diversified affiliate portfolio, because different types of affiliates are going to be able to help at different stages of the consumer journey.
I agree with that. Okay, so those were, I think we covered your outline. Did we cover everything you wanted to cover?
I think we did. So thank you, Laura. I really appreciate it. Do you want to end us with a few steps or suggestions or tips for brands as we go into Q4 and as we move into 2021, especially considering that we are in a global pandemic and a lot of people are not going to be shopping in stores. Everything is shifting over to online purchasing, or much is being shifted over to online purchasing, especially during holiday shopping season. Do you have any kind of tips or recommendations for companies, brands, affiliate managers, affiliates, as they think about how to engage customers in the right way during this particular time?
So I do think it's important to be very data oriented right now. So if you're not comfortable with data, get really comfortable with data. I know we are becoming kind of dependent on machines or tools to do the analysis of our data, but if you don't understand what the analysis needs to be, you're not going to get what you need. So knowing what you're really looking for and being able to identify the right patterns in that analysis, I think are really important. So to your point earlier, when you're on a site and it says, people like you, people who bought this also bought this, right? Or it doesn't, but I'm shopping for a friend who's getting married and I only need the bridal registry item and I don't really need everything else. I'm not really shopping for me. I'm buying something from the bridal registry. So somebody ought to probably know that. And instead of popping up something, well, people who bought this also bought this, I'm not really going to do that. So I think, be careful about your data and your analytics and what you put out there as an example. So I think it's really important. Be solid in data, solid in analytics, solid in being able to derive good patterns, but keeping in mind the customer. Who is buying? So all those people, back to my mother, who are sending me emails about having surgery, I'm not having surgery. Right.
So
okay.
Key to know who you're talking about, key to understand what information you're actually analyzing and what to do with it and what it means. If anybody wants to learn more about the consumer journey and read Fast Track Your Business, Laura Patterson, thank you so much. Website for them to check out the book, where can they buy it if they want to buy it?
Well, you can check out us at VisionEdgeMarketing.com. There's information about the book there. The book is available ebook, audio, printed copies at Amazon, Barnes & Noble. We have a couple of single or independent bookstores, is that what they're called?
Yeah.
That we try, because we really do try hard to support them. And so we'd love for people to buy it. We'd love for people to review it and in line with this whole journey thing. And Sarah, it means a lot to me that we had a chance to have this conversation. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it too. And if anybody out there does need some help in dissecting that data, in thinking about best approach, thinking about best types of partnerships, best strategy for growth, how to tackle Q4, how to tackle 2021, how to tackle engagement with customers, leveraging affiliates, check out allinclusivemarketing.com, give us a call. We're happy to help you with any of those things as well. So thank you, Laura. Always a pleasure to chat with you. And thanks for the time. We'll catch up with you guys soon.
My pleasure. Be well.